We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we've got more developments in the Epstein files, the Ghislaine Maxwell case, and really what I think is the coming limited hangout revelations regarding Epstein and other powerful individuals. Now, I want to get into the new prison facility that Ghislaine Maxwell has been moved into. We're going to hear from Maxwell's lawyer in a clip on what actually was discussed behind closed doors with the DOJ. We're going to watch Trump talk about Virginia Giuffre Roberts, who recently committed suicide. We're also going to get into how the family does not like how Trump framed the idea that, quote unquote, Epstein stole workers, including Virginia Roberts, from him. And look, I think there's some semantics there. I think it could have been handled differently. There's definitely the gaffe when we're talking about an instance as serious as this one, but as somebody who has managed and run businesses, you know, that's just the lingo. If somebody poaches your pizza maker, your bartender, you often say that they were stolen from you. Is it in great taste? Probably not. And then we're also going to play Maxwell's brother. I believe this is Kevin. Ian is also doing the rounds in the media. And Kevin basically saying that Virginia Giuffre Roberts has made all of this up. And she's the one that's done all the harm to the family. And she's the actual criminal. I mean, this is somebody that even after winning in court against Prince Andrew for a substantial amount of money, could not defeat the demons and ended up taking her own life. And I would only say this, you know, for those out there that have been trying to marginalize this whole thing or say that it's been blown out of proportion, if that is the case, why did we have the payouts from Prince Andrew? Why did we have the multitude of payouts from JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank to try to keep this thing under wraps? Well, it's really simple, okay? Because number one, as I've discussed, although many of these victims were of age, especially when being distributed to people in power circles to curry favor or sometimes blackmail them. Yes, you can blackmail somebody with somebody who's overage as well, especially if they're married or in a relationship, etc. Or maybe that sexual proclivity, is something that has been hidden away from the public. There's a lot of things you can do, okay? And that is a real aspect of it. But there's also the underage aspect of it, okay? And not only that, but the wheeling and dealing within the banking industry, the wheeling and dealing in the arms industry, the wheeling and dealing in the entertainment industry, and yes, the wheeling and dealing within the intel community, which encompasses all of it. And over many a decade, this is an international intelligence network. And yes, it also can be traced all the way back to that Iran-Contra era. So, with all that being said, I need you guys to thumbs this up, subscribe, share, let people know about the broadcast. Check out all the documentary films down below for free. And once again, I can't do it without you. There are no paychecks. You know, I hate to have to go this hard in the paint, but if you want to continue to see this broadcast, not only on a daily basis, but thrive, not just survive, please consider supporting the broadcast down below. I want to thank the anonymous donors down there, $5, $10, $15. Big donors, you absolutely mean the world to me. If you don't like the Buy Me a Coffee, there are other links, including PayPal, down below. Please consider supporting this broadcast. All right. Inside Ghislaine Maxwell's new Texas minimum security prison. Now, first and foremost, Ghislaine Maxwell was already out there talking about the horrific conditions of the last prison, did that infamous interview. Her family, again, had said how shoddy it is. And it does seem like after this 2-day interview, part of the deal that was probably cut, all right, not formally cut, mind you, not formally cut. See those kind of over the table and under the table arrangements that we talk about? She got to go to this new facility. And so many, I mean, it's already being widely acknowledged this is because of her cooperation with the Department of Justice. Let me just read some of this to you. Okay. Ghislaine Maxwell, the 62-year-old British socialite convicted of trafficking underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein, was moved to a federal prison Camp Bryan, a minimum security facility in Texas, earlier this week. Newsweek contacted Maxwell's attorney for comment via email on Saturday outside of regular office hours. Why it matters, President Donald Trump has been under intense pressure over the Epstein case since July 6, when the Department of Justice and FBI released a joint statement asserting he had no incriminating client list and died by suicide. Now, again, the client list has always, and I mean always, been a red herring. Jeffrey Epstein was not running an underage or overage brothel. I would tell people to go to the available evidence via the Miami case, and especially the interviews with many of the victims, which are available. Okay, let me repeat that. Which are available. Their faces are blurred out, but you can hear their voices. And they are, I mean, if you watch any of these short documentaries or documentary series, they often show you little clips of this. All right? And it's the same MO over and over and over and over again. These girls are usually recruited at like a local high school by another girl or a mall or a social event. And they're brought to Jeffrey Epstein for a massage. Now, some of them take to it, some of them don't, some of them become recruiters. And some of them were part of the inner network with Maxwell and part of that non-prosecution agreement. In fact, the lawyer is going to talk about that non-prosecution agreement. Let's go to him right now.
Ghislaine answered every single question asked of her over the last day and a half. She answered those questions honestly, truthfully, to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question. We're appealing on a very important ground, which is the government at the time promised Jeffrey Epstein that any potential co-conspirators would not be prosecuted. And so she deserves that promise. Congress has subpoenaed her to testify. We have to make a decision about whether she will do that or not. That's been scheduled for the week of August 11th, and we haven't gotten back to them yet on whether we'll do that. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
There would be no pardon. if he was doing the right and just way. And let's break down what he's talking about there. Now, number one, they filed with the Supreme Court because of that non-prosecution agreement with Jeffrey Epstein. Although it's widely recognized, of course, Maxwell is a part of that non-prosecution agreement. We've never seen that non-prosecution agreement. Okay? And now that you're talking about being subpoenaed by Congress, Congress is going to be pressured, not just by the Israeli lobby, not just by the intel community, not just by the banking industry, but many of their constituents who have been around in these bureaucracies and political fields for decades to truncate all of this. And you better believe even the questions asked by the Justice Department, okay, even those, and you know, there's one video I'm actually missing that I need to find while we're doing this, while we do it live, of Trump, again, going back to this trope that the Democrats had the files for 4 years. So what? So what? Again, the Palm Beach case, I believe, was adjudicated in 2008. 2008. Okay, so that means full Barack Starr administration, Trump administration, Biden administration, those documents alone. And then you get into the lawsuit stuff with Bradley Edwards, who represented a bunch of these women, to talk about a bunch of documents, okay? I got to find that video. But while we do that, let's play this, what is this? ABC piece where Trump, again, discusses Epstein stealing workers from him twice, and that was the falling out. And one of those workers was Virginia Giuffre Roberts. Now, Virginia Roberts, in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, all right, actually discussed those encounters with Trump, discussed the fact that Epstein had said that Trump was his good friend, discussed the fact that not only did her father work for Trump at this same institution, but they'd often have conversations together. So here, let's play this clip of Trump now commenting on the falling out with Epstein.
This morning, Virginia Giuffre's family wants to know what President Trump knows about convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. In a new statement, the siblings of Giuffre saying, "It makes us ask if he was aware of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal actions. We and the public are asking for answers. Survivors deserve this." In 2019, when Epstein was charged with trafficking, Trump said they had a falling out and had not spoken in 15 years. The Giuffre family now speaking out after Trump was asked by reporters this week if Giuffre was one of the employees he claimed Epstein stole from his Mar-a-Lago resort.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Giuffre's family saying it was Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, who targeted and preyed upon our then 16-year-old sister, Virginia, from Mar-a-Lago.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day.
Giuffre, who died by suicide in April, accused Maxwell of recruiting her while she was working as a locker room attendant in 2000, claiming she was groomed to be a teen sex slave for Epstein. Maxwell denied participating in sexual activities with Giuffre and Epstein and denied instructing Giuffre to have sex with others. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche met with Maxwell last week, part of the Justice Department's effort to uncover information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims. Maxwell, currently serving 20 years in prison and appealing her conviction to the Supreme Court, offered to testify before Congress for immunity. Giuffre's family hopes that doesn't happen, saying Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster who deserves to rot in prison for the rest of her life. Trump has not ruled out pardoning Maxwell, but has said no one's approached him about it. The Justice Department says only 2 law enforcement witnesses testified during the grand juries in New York that investigated Epstein and Maxwell. Supporters of releasing all the Epstein files say this proves more than just the grand jury transcripts need to be released to show transparency.
The grand jury stuff again, is
some of the other headlines we're following.
It's a red herring. It's not even that important. Once again, when you look at all this and all this evidence, all right, it's often not talk. We talk about the pedophilia of Epstein, but the allegations from many of these victims is group participation with Maxwell as well. And there are so many people out there that act as though, this just wouldn't be possible, and this isn't how the world works. There is this Vice series out there, and I forget what it's called. But essentially, it talks about the dark side of things, and these hotel workers are wearing masks, talking about when you have these predator class, nepotistic individuals that have more money than you could ever imagine and live a life that you could never imagine, how they treat people. And when I say they rent out the entire hotel, that means that obviously there are illicit drugs, there's prostitution, and there's God knows what going on. And they have a total disregard for the staff and other human beings because they look at them as lesser. All right? They look at them as lesser. Now, I'm a little nervous about this clip because it is mainstream and it's a longer clip. But let's get to the other side of the story, right? This is Kevin Maxwell talking to LBC out of the UK, and Piers Morgan just had Ian Maxwell on as well, and they say it's all a hoax, and that Virginia Giuffre Roberts is the biggest of the hoaxers, et cetera, et cetera. Let's play these clips.
Ian Maxwell, thank you for coming on the show. Your sister met last month.
I'm sorry, this is Ian, not Kevin.
With the Deputy United States Attorney General, Todd Blanche. What came of those conversations, Mr. Maxwell? Good morning.
Morning to you. Well, we're waiting to hear what the DOJ has to say about it. Mr. Blanche said that he would be releasing a statement about it in due course, and we're still waiting on that. Gillen's lawyer, David Marcus, confirmed that she had answered questions over 2 days, answered everything truthfully, and we're waiting really for the outcome of that.
What was the line of questioning?
We don't know. Apparently, Mr. Marcus, on behalf of Gillen, said she'd been asked questions about perhaps 100 people or so. That much he spoke about when he gave a small press conference after the talks were over.
And again, with 100 people, you're probably looking at some of the associates, some of the workers, some of the people in the Black Book, and some of the individuals that have been accused in the numerous lawsuits, and perhaps the original case.
But other than that, we do not know.
Do you believe the so-called files should be released? And if so, why?
I believe that transparency is generally the right way to go. And I believe transparency is the friend of my sister. So I do think that to the extent some of these files or whatever they amount to can be released, that's a good thing.
Some of these, what did he say there? Some of these files can or can't be released. That's a good thing. Notice he doesn't want all the files out there, but he says they're going to be good for his sister. Let's bring it back.
They amount to can be released. That's a good thing.
Yeah, again, he seems like he dodged that question. He just said, yeah, transparency is great, but only some of the files can be released.
That's your belief. You're probably aware that the family of one of Epstein's victims has asked Donald Trump, not to consider pardoning your sister. The family member of the late Virginia Giuffre saying Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster who deserves to rot in prison for the rest of her life. As her brother, how do you respond?
Well, I think I know who the monster is here. It certainly isn't my sister. Virginia Giuffre was a consummate liar from start to finish. And this is most conspicuously revealed when she had alleged that she had slept with Professor Alan Dershowitz, maintained it for many years, and then had to withdraw and desist. That's the first major point. And perhaps the second and crucial point is that the law enforcement elected not to call Virginia Giuffre to the trial of my sister, the most voluble, perhaps best known of her accusers. And why was that? Because she would have been eviscerated by the defense.
So let me address that, because I'm one of the only people that actually talk about the Alan Dershowitz thing. And, you know, I actually have right here. Let's see if we can open that image, copy image address, and put this email here that is part of, you know, the idea that Virginia Giuffre Roberts was being dishonest. Okay, and she lost in court to Dershowitz. I bring that up, period. Now, we can argue when Dershowitz was introduced to Epstein. He claims that he was introduced via the Rothschilds. But this email, this is where Virginia Giuffre Roberts, all the way back in 2011, and she's working with the Daily Mail. And listen, the Daily Mail paid her some money, allegedly $160,000 for one of her interviews. And I've talked about that relationship. Here they're kind of talking about individuals, and says, don't forget Alan Dershowitz, Jeffrey Epstein's buddy and lawyer. Good name for your pitch, as he repped Klaus von Bülow, and a movie was made about that case. Title was Reversal of Fortune. We all suspect Alan is a you-know-what, and though no proof of that, you probably met with him while he was hanging with Jeffrey Epstein. So you could take that as you want. That's I think that's what is that with that's the Mail. So I'm not defending Dershowitz. I want to make that clear. But he did win in court. But you also have to remember that Dershowitz is part of that initial sweetheart deal. So at the very least, and he's talked about it, Dershowitz has talked about other people that are on the videos that supposedly don't exist. I'll say this. I'm not a believe all victims every time kind of guy, right? Because if you're that guy, then you also have to believe like E. Jean Carroll, even the Katie Johnson stuff with Trump. I'm not dismissing anybody out of hand. And I tend to think those that are abused, all right, number one, you create so much trauma that often things may be misrepresented after the fact, but you've also survived a situation where maybe you've become something else, or maybe you're a bit deceptive as well. So, food for thought, everybody. To go back to Ghislaine Maxwell's brother, and we're going to play more of that, even though they didn't use Virginia Giuffre Roberts in that criminal case, they did use 4 other victims, including Annie Farmer. Okay? So you had other individuals saying similar things to Virginia Giuffre Roberts, including sometimes that participation by Ghislaine Maxwell, and she did get convicted. So let's go back to her brother Ian.
So that's my take on her.
What is the physical condition of your sister at this time, Mr. Maxwell?
Well, she's now completed 5 years of prison, 2 years of that pre-trial in absolutely torturous circumstances at MDC Brooklyn, one of the toughest jails in the world, really, not just in the U.S. She's now at Tallahassee, which is a pretty violent place, awash with drugs, desperately overcrowded. And, it's a dangerous place. Prisons are dangerous places. So I am fearful for my sister, but her spirit is strong. Her belief in her innocence, and my belief in that too, is resolute.
How likely is it your sister will go before the U.S. lawmakers later this month?
I think it's pretty likely.
Well, it's a subpoena, so that she's compelled to go. But her lawyer has written to Congress to say that she would like to testify, but that has to be in a safe and appropriate way. She is engaged in ongoing live legal proceedings, both at the Supreme Court of the United States, which we know just yesterday has confirmed that it will be considering her petition after the summer recess starting September 29, so just 6 weeks after the date that the Congress has summoned her. But in order for her to be able to testify, she has requested perfectly reasonably in her lawyer's view and, of course, in the family's view, that she receive immunity for doing so. That
again, this woman's already gotten immunity in the first case. Folks, I think what you can expect is some kind of a special counsel. I think that you can expect the same talking points of individuals that have been named. I don't think that we're going to get the actual revelations of the arms dealing, the intelligence connections, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Mossad, the IDF, the arms dealing not only in that arena but with Prince Andrew, the UK's arms dealer at the time. But hey, who knows? Who knows where this goes? I do know this, that we have to continue to put pressure on the power structures to release this information. If we don't get it out there and we don't eventually start getting some accountability within this executive, within an executive, there is no hope for what was once a great constitutional republic. And more is shown to be essentially a tool of globalism and the predator class, which makes me very, very upset, folks. Guys, I need your support. I cannot do it without you. Please, 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 please consider donating $5, $10, $15. Big donors. You mean the world to me. There are other links down below. Again, there are no paychecks anymore. This is a 100% viewer-driven broadcast. We're going to continue to bring you not only what you don't hear in the mainstream, but what you don't often hear in the alternative, okay? We pitch balls and strikes here. We go down the middle. If we agree with something, we talk about it. If we disagree with it, we talk about it as well. So please, please consider that donation below. Check out all the documentary films for free. If you want to learn about 9/11, Fabled Enemies, and Loose Change Final Cut. And then, of course, my big picture films, Shade the Motion Picture, and Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. As always, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.